Hey everyone, I'm so thrilled in our Greatness Biz community to be introducing you to Jonny Cooper. He is from across the pond in England. Welcome, Jonny. Thrilled to have
Thank
you with us.
you. It's great to be here, Sarah.
We were on a webinar together. Jonny was the guest expert, and the irony is we're going to be talking about marketing, but Jonny, your company is johnnyhatesmarketing.com. And I know many of the people in this group will really value what you have to say because they too don't really love marketing that much or feel perhaps a little intimidated. I'm just curious, what are some of the reasons why people don't like marketing and why they make some mistakes?
Yeah, the most common thing that I see, but bear in mind, Sarah, I'm speaking of my tribe who are, coaches, trainers, therapists, consultants, the expert community, as we kind of call it.
Mm-hmm.
They tend to overwhelm themselves in two ways. One is by trying to master too many platforms, being aware that the M word, the marketing word, is so huge and so all-encompassing. I read the other day there's over 100 social media platforms on the planet with more than 1 million followers each.
I believe it.
If you really wanted to dominate social media, you've got all your work ahead of you. So picking one platform and getting really good at it, just mastering the one platform where your ideal clients hang out with them. And communicate with them,
Well, and that's such a great point, is that mastering that one community. And what you didn't say was the one that you like best. It was where your ideal client is. And so I'm wondering if you could speak with us a little bit more about, do you have some advice for similar folks on the line? A lot of the people who are part of this list also are like who you serve, consultants and coaches and trainers and so forth. So how can people get a little clearer about where their people are hanging out?
Yeah, I mean, it starts, I mentioned that there were two ways that people often sabotage their marketing. So that was the first one I wanted to mention, that, people try and dilute themselves, spread themselves too thinly and all kinds of metaphors like that. But the other one, which will answer this question, I think, is that they're marketing something that doesn't exist, or marketing something that's woolly, trying to market fog. I describe the vagueness virus, and I should trademark that because I came up with that in the shower.
I totally know what you mean when you say that. It probably involves the words possibilities, full potential, right?
Yeah, I mean, it involves words like, I'll tell you what this is truly, and when I can see straight away if someone has the vagueness virus. If I say to them, what do you do? And their answer to that starts with, I help anybody who... stop.
Right.
Because nobody can help anybody do anything, right? So the vagueness virus leads me to believe that they're not ready for marketing yet. So my before marketing piece is understanding 3 pillars, as I call them, my 3 pillars of effortless marketing, or 3 pillars of client attraction. I think I've recently rebranded them. So number 1 is what it is you do. Tell us clearly what it is you do. What's your superpower? What is it that you can do pretty much better than anybody else? If you didn't exist, why would we have to invent you?
That's a great question. I love that.
Exactly. And if the answer to that is, well, pretty much nothing, I'm just an ordinary Joe, then forget it. You're not ready to market that yet, are you? That's the what. Second one, easy to remember, is the who. Come on, take a stab at a client avatar at least. I work with people who are stuck. It's utterly useless. And yet many life coaches who come to me start at that point. I help people get unstuck. What does that even mean? What people? What are they stuck with? So,
and why does it matter? What's the burning platform?
Exactly. Well, that's my third one. So the third one is how are you going to solve that?
Yeah.
How does your superpower actually help those people? And what is it you're solving? So it's a simple, easily rememberable sequence of what, who, and how. What, who, and how.
Yeah.
What is it you do? Who's it for? And how are you going to deliver it? How are you going to change those people's lives?
Which I can understand. Then it makes it a lot easier to figure out what platforms then to be on, because now that you have that clarity, you can figure out where these people are.
Exactly. If you answer that second question, you say, well, I really want to work with CTOs of Silicon Valley startups. Then you go on LinkedIn, don't you? You go on LinkedIn and you search for CTOs. You search for words like Silicon Valley, and there'll be thousands of all those people in front of you to work with and to reach out to and communicate with and market to. If you say, well, my superpower is helping stay-at-home mums to recover their purpose in life, and start feeling wanted and useful and all that kind of thing, then, you could go on Facebook and look at mums groups, join parents groups, if you just type in mums into Facebook, there's 10,000 groups.
Yeah.
So,
and when you go into those groups, I'm sure you're not suggesting now then the very first post, tell people, hey, these are the 18 things I could sell to you, and push. I'm guessing that's not the very next strategy.
The next strategy is building relationships, isn't it? Just being useful, just showing up and being nice and starting conversations strategically, But, I think that answers the big question to start with, doesn't it? That the biggest mistake people make is to start getting platform specific before they know who they are, what they do, and who it's for, So those three pillars have to be in place before you can answer any of those secondary questions, which are way less important ultimately, aren't they?
Yeah. And really, what you've just shared, the sage wisdom, expands to all of the good business advice too. And I can attest, everyone, here's my confession of the day. I built a website before I had done Jonny's homework. I just met Jonny yesterday. Wish I had known him 5 years ago. And guess how many months I had that website? 12. And then it was useless. It wasn't getting me the right business. People were confused on it. Do you see the same thing, Jonny, that people say, I need, if I have
very much so, yeah. But people say, websites are useless these days. Well, no, what it is you haven't understood why you need a website and what it's for. What's the purpose of its website? What do you want someone to do when they land on it? But you can't answer these questions until you say, well, this is what I do. This is what I bring to the world, my superpower. This is who it's for. This is how I'm going to deliver it. Because then you can talk about all that stuff on your website, and it comes naturally to say that, well, okay, I understand that if these CTOs are who I deal with, these Silicon Valley CTOs, for example, their number one problem is that they're massively stressed because they've laid their life on the line. They're probably invested in their own business. It's boom or bust, isn't it? It's binary. So their stress levels, their anxiety is going to be off the scale. So I can help them with that. So then your website is going to say, I help stressed out Silicon Valley CTOs to chill out, find themselves so they can perform better and, avoid the hangman's noose or, whatever kind of language appeals to them. But by understanding who your audience is, you then start to understand what they're saying about themselves. You use the language that they use. You look at the world through their eyes. You say, what does the world actually look like to a Silicon Valley CTO? Before I can serve this Silicon Valley CTO, I need to know that, don't I?
Well, and it really relates to what you were saying earlier, too, about if you really understand who your customer is and you've been paying attention and listening, it is going to allow you not to have that generic language because you're using their words. You're using you may think, I solved this problem of I help them feel less fearful, let's say. But if you say it in that way, that may not be the language that they're using. Maybe it is, I'm going to help you reduce the stress of balancing family and your startup or something, so what words are they using?
Exactly. You can say specifically, I'm going to help you get to stage A funding, I'm going to make sure your business thrives before you run out of cash or something like that,
Right. Yes.
It's the next level before you run out of money. So it's, this deep understanding of what your clients want, because otherwise you're just wasting everybody's time. I actually think it's quite rude,
Yeah.
It's quite rude to direct me to a website and I land on it and I go, what's all this about?
Yeah.
Why am I looking at this?
Yeah. People's time is precious. And
I don't even know what they're asking me to do, It enables you to create simple things like the MWA, the most wanted action. Before you build a website, understand what you actually want people to do when they land on it.
Mm-hmm.
Ask him to do. It's not just look at me, I'm a website. There has to be a purpose to it all. So we've kind of homed in on websites, but websites are one of those platform level tools like Facebook, like LinkedIn, like email marketing, for instance, which are utterly and completely useless in and of themselves. They're only there to serve your ideal client. So you've got to understand who your ideal client is first, haven't you?
Yes. And I like how you pointed out that it is a tool, because what I've noticed is that some entrepreneurs, especially newer entrepreneurs, get involved in the busy work, such as learning how to do a website or populating content, rewriting copy, creating free downloadables, rather than actually getting clear on their business or going out there and prospecting. So it's
100%, yeah,
busy
absolutely.
work. Mm-hmm.
I had a conversation with a client this afternoon who will probably never see this, so I can mention it. And she hasn't got a single client. She's on the verge of financial meltdown. And she just spent her last $500 downloading a funnel building course. And I'm going, all right, fine. Wouldn't it have been better if you spent the hour that it took her to download that and get it onto a hard drive? Direct messaging some people in a Facebook group who look like an ex-ideal client and saying, hey, let's jump on a call.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the power of being really clear on who you serve and why they need what you need, is so that when you are communicating with people, and I really want to come back to that word used earlier of relationships, that it's not when you, let's say your target market is on LinkedIn, you're building a relationship with them over time through what you share and post, through articles that you write, through direct messages you send to them, and building that relationship over time. And that is a good use of our time. And that is marketing. And we don't often think of it because it's not the flashy, expensive, sexy marketing or the trends, but isn't it the most fundamental? If you're not using your effort to directly connect with people, then what's the point of the marketing, right? It's to get clients.
Yeah, it really is. You just mentioned something there about direct messaging and posting and all that kind of thing. Well, it seems to me there are two different types of marketing in this sense. Well, one is what I call indirect. So indirect engagement, if you like, where you're posting something in the hope and expectation that somebody will read it and react. Direct engagement, which is how you can make some money right now today, is when you send someone a message. You send someone a message and you say, hey, enjoyed your comment, enjoyed your post. I feel your pain. Looks like there's something I might be able to help with. I'm not sure, but let's jump on the call and find out. And that kind of direct approach, that answers all this kind of, desperation that a starter coach might have. Oh, I haven't got any clients.
Yes.
Well, you don't need clients, plural. You need to find your next client. You need to person. And sending a message to someone who looks like your next ideal client is a great way to do that. So that's the direct versus the indirect. And, once you start rolling, you can do a blend of both. You can be posting every day on LinkedIn like a good soldier, posting every day on Facebook, doing all that kind of thing, and blend that in with your direct reach outs, just tapping someone on the shoulder and saying, hey, we should be talking.
Yes.
So that's how to simplify. But it comes from those three pillars, as we mentioned, what you do, who it's for, and how you deliver it.
Yeah, really powerful. So I just wanted to wrap up, and this has been such juicy information. Thank you so much. You had given us a formula sentence yesterday, which I loved. And that was our homework from the webinar, was to fill in the blanks. Would you give us the formula?
I will, yes. A great starting point for all this stuff. So absolute simplicity and clarity. You need to write this sentence. So anybody watching this, get a pen and paper or tap it in a notepad on the screen. But I want you to write this down. And the sentence is, I work with XXX to help them Y, so that they can ZZZ. So you've got your avatar is the X. The feature of what you do is the Y. And the benefit of what you do is the Z. So don't just stop with the why, with the feature.
Mm-hmm.
That's the letter Y, by the way, not W-H-I. So
Right.
I work with X to help them do Y so that they can Z.
Jonny, will you share with us what your formula is so that if
Yeah,
folks want to
sure.
reach out to you, they know if they are your avatar and if they need what you have to offer?
Yeah, I'd love for them to reach out only if they're my avatar, but
Yeah.
definitely if they're my avatar.
Mhm.
So I work with coaches, trainers, therapists, and consultants to help them find more of their ideal clients more easily without paid advertising, so they can build a thriving practice and live a life of abundance.
Nice. Thank you so
Without
much.
features, benefits, and avatars.
I
So
love it.
do your X, Y, Z. Anybody watching this, and post it under wherever you see the video.
Mhm. Yeah, that's our can we get a thumbs up, everybody, that that's what we're going to do. That'll show Jonny that his 15 minutes with us was absolutely worth it. Thank you so much, Jonny, for spending the time with
My
me.
pleasure. Thanks so much for inviting me.
And have a wonderful day across the pond in jolly old England.
I sure will. There's another 3 hours of my day left, so I'm going to get into it with gusto.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you.